Lakeside Dental Clinic, Go Island, is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic.
A real treat on today's edition of Go Island. International best-selling author Barbara Coloroso tours the world speaking on parenting, and these days a particular focus on bullying. She's appeared on Oprah, on CNN, on ABC, on NBC, and today she's appearing on Shaw TV. Capitalizing big time on tiny homes, a second chance at living in the wild, and your chance to win tickets to Harry Manx. We're here at the Haven Society in Nanaimo today in the Serenity Garden. We will be joining Barbara Coloroso in conversation a bit later on. But we're starting off with Annette Lucas. She's introducing us to a small company based out of Nanaimo, operated by a couple of VIU students who are, well, looking into the trend of tiny homes in a big way. When The Bully, the Bullied, and the Bystander was released in 2001, the title was slightly different. The Not-So-Innocent Bystander has been inserted. Barbara Coloroso is an international, world-renowned speaker on parenting and bullying. And what else?
Genocide and how it's connected to bullying. So
Wow.
but people say that's strange that you would talk on genocide. You work in parenting and teaching, and I said, where do you think it starts? It starts with being mean and cruel to another human being. Martin Buber said, I am I and you are thou, and we have a common humanity. In bullying, I am I and you're an it. And that's why name calling is so devastating. When I make you into an it, I can do anything to you and not feel any shame or compassion.
Besides the title change, what's different in this new edition of the book?
100 new pages. It's been totally expanded and updated, more than revised, because we are now dealing with the issues of digital bullying in a way it wasn't even touched on in 2001. And in the update before this one, a chapter, and now it's integrated throughout the whole book, because digital, online, and offline targeting of young people are merging, and the impact is deadly.
And it makes it even easier to turn someone into an it.
Exactly.
When you're not faced with them in person.
And you get a collective, a larger collective of people, those not-so-innocent bystanders, joining in and becoming complicit in this trap of comradeship, as Sebastian Hafner called it. And then we have to justify why we're doing those mean things, and we target the target again, saying, well, he was weird, he was dorky, she's strange, look how she dresses, look at her skin color and religion, or the food she eats, and the like. So it's combined. It's not that it's the digital world that has gotten awful. The digital world can be very good. It's that online and offline cruelty that have merged.
Why add the not-so-innocent bystander? What has changed in the role of bystander?
It hasn't changed. It wasn't that clarified, even in my own mind in 2001. William Burroughs, the great English author, said there are no innocent bystanders. What were they doing there in the first place? And I have the bully circle that describes their roles. But people would often say that bystanding to them meant just standing by, holding the coat, as one principal said, while the others are engaging. And it's more than that. There are the henchmen who do the bully's bidding. There are the active supporters who whip out their cell phones and video it to put on YouTube. They're the kids that pull it off of YouTube and laugh. They're all part of it. And a deadly lot is the disengaged onlookers, who can be you and me as adults who say, wow, it's part of growing up. Boys will be boys, girls just want to be mean. We are part of the problem then. On the upswing of that circle are the potential witnesses. Those are the kids you and I did raise to act with integrity and civility and compassion. But they're afraid of the bully. They're afraid to step in. They're afraid if they do something, they'll make it worse for the target, or they are just simply afraid. At the very top of the bully circle is what I want your daughters and sons and my grandchildren to become, and that's witness resistors and defenders, the brave-hearted kid. When the high-status social bully says to all the other girls, I don't like the new girl. You want to be in my group? Don't eat lunch with her. I want your daughter to be the one to say, that's mean. That's cruel. And have the courage, and it takes courage to go sit next to the new girl, because she's going to do that at cost. There'll be no scratch and sniff stickers and stars, catch and being good awards, lunch with the principal. She's probably going to get, oh, Miss Goody Two Shoes, or you're next. And I want your son, when his friends say, look at that kid over there, different skin color, religion, gender, physical or mental ability, economic status, let's go mess him up. I want your son to be the one to say no. When the burden's heavy, when his friends say, what are you, chicken, what do you just like him? So my goal, and this is how it all connects in all of my work, is how do we raise kids willing to stand up for values and against injustices? And a hint is you and I have to walk our talk and talk our walk.
All right, we're going to be walking more talk on this edition of Go Island with Barbara Coloroso after a short break. Still to come today, Eagle release in Arrington, a treetop adventure with Kelly Robinson, and your chance to see Harry Manx at the Port Theatre. The North Island Wildlife Recovery Association is celebrating 30 years, and they're kicking off many of their celebrations with a release of one of those eagles. That's taking place on April the 18th from 11 until 3. You can get more information on that event and others, including their big Family Day event taking place on May 30th and the big anniversary celebration that takes place on July 10th. Go online, www.niwra.org. Moving from eagles and wildlife to musicians now, Harry Manx is called one of Canada's most versatile and expressive blues players by Billboard magazine. He's spent many, many years fusing Eastern musical traditions with the blues. 11 albums, 7 Maple Blues Awards, 6 Juno nominations, and the list goes on and on. He's coming to Nanaimo's Port Theatre on Saturday, April the 25th. Here's a taste, Mr. Harry Manx.
Whoa, let it go, child, yeah, let it go, go, go. Let your soul to vengeance rest. Whoa, do the blind lead the blind, yeah, don't be cruel to be kind. Only then will your house be blessed. Whoa, let it go, let it go. Oh, will your house be blessed?
Harry Manx is brought to you by the Port Theatre and the Nanaimo Blues Society, Saturday night at the Port Theatre, and we have a pair of tickets to give away. All you need to do is send me an email, kate.bergen@sjrb.ca. We'll put you into a random draw and give you lots of notice so you can plan out a fantastic Saturday night with Harry Manx. Breaking the cycle of bullying. Barbara,
Yes.
Very important if we're going to make progress, obviously, in this area. Is it as simple as it sounds?
It's very simple. It's not easy.
Okay.
And what we have to do first is walk our talk and talk our walk. Stand up for values against injustices. How do you handle somebody moving through the grocery store a little slower than you'd like? How do you handle the new neighbor who looks different than you, eats different foods, different faith tradition? And how do you handle the bigoted relative at the family gathering? Mm-hmm. Are you willing to stand up and say, that was bigoted, that was racist, that was sexist, when all the other relatives roll their eyes and say, can't you take a joke? Not that kind. Your children then see you doing what you're asking them to do in grade 8 when the high status social bully says, don't eat lunch with her.
Which takes courage.
Oh,
it's showing the courage that you're wanting your children to show.
Yes. And then you also want to say to them, whenever you hear verbal taunting of anyone, no more, not here, never. That was mean, that was cruel. This is safe harbor for everyone. The kid who's been targeted knows that you're with them and they're not alone. And your children are hearing, whether it's the friend over or your child doing it, because kids play with these roles, that you're not going to tolerate it here. You teach them to resolve conflicts. You stop bullying. They're worlds apart. Conflicts are normal, natural, and necessary. Bullying is none of those. Bullying's about being mean and cruel and getting pleasure from somebody else's pain.
We're going to come back after a short break and find out how Barbara got started on this wonderful journey that she's on. Barbara Coloroso started her career as a teacher. How did your experience in teaching lead to becoming an author with a focus on parenting and bullying and breaking cycles?
Well, I taught in the area of special ed, at first with kids who had intellectual difficulties. But then I went to deal with kids who were severely, what we used to call emotionally troubled and troublesome teenagers. And from there, I began to identify what they were missing in their lives and what we needed to do to help break their cycles of violence, and also how to raise responsible, resourceful, resilient, compassionate human beings who know how to stand up for values and against injustices, who know how to have that sense of wonder and skepticism.
Why are there so many kids who aren't getting what they need? It's part of the cycle. If the grown-ups don't have the skills, they can't teach that to their kids. And it seems like such a simple thing, but it's not. I keep coming back to that.
It's difficult, but I go back to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. I do work in Africa, and he talks about Ubuntu, that we are interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. And it's high time we as communities recognize that it's not a standalone family, that we need to be involved with one another. When the neighbor is screaming at her kids, do you go to the other neighbor and say, boy, has she lost it? Or do you go over there and say, your windows are open? Sounds like you're having one heck of a day. Can you and I go through a grocery store? I'm a grandmother. Been there, done that. Can I go through a grocery store, see somebody struggling with 3 little ones, say, been there, done that? Can I help? We need to be there for one another.
And that's not being nosy. That's not putting yourself into something that isn't your business.
No, it's saying that we're all connected. That child's welfare matters. Every kid needs to know 6 critical life messages. I believe in you. I trust in you. I know you can handle this. You're listened to, you're cared for, you're very important to me.
I saw an example that you gave on a YouTube interview.
Yeah.
Give us an example now of how you can address those 6 messages with one gesture.
Yeah, your kid has a zit. Feels like his whole face is aglow. We say, don't worry, I had 30 when I was your age. Is not listening. Nor is if you hadn't eaten the French fries and the chocolate, you wouldn't have the zit. You put your arm around the kid and say, that's a bummer. Yeah. I remember what it's like to have a zit right there. Feels like your whole face is aglow. Let's see if there isn't something we can get to clear it up and to cover it up, which says to a kid, I hear you, I'm here for you, and you're not in this alone. Kids need to hear that every day. They also need to hear that they can learn to care deeply, share generously, and help willingly. Those are the antidotes to hating, hoarding, and harming. The 3 virulent agents ripping apart the fabric of our humanity today. So anything we can do to help them care more deeply about themselves and others, share more generously, and help more willingly goes a long way to breaking this cycle of violence.
Okay, and there's an important subtitle right on the book here, From Preschool to High School and Beyond, Breaking the Cycle of Violence and Creating More Deeply Caring Communities. It goes beyond just children. It starts right here with me and with you. We're going to throw things over now to Kelly Robinson. She's having an island adventure at Montquito. I think it's time to head out to wild play again. It's been a while since I've jumped off a bridge, although it's something I've been told a little bit more recently. That's a whole other story. It's been a real pleasure speaking with Barbara Coloroso on today's edition of Go Island. If you're not familiar with her work, check it out. Very inspiring. Thanks for watching this edition of Go Island. We'll see you next time.
Lakeside Dental Clinic Go Island is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic, a division of the Vancouver Island Implant Center, delivering dental services, including dental implants and sedation dentistry, all under one roof. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.